Have you ever felt like your partner just doesn't care? Whether that's doesn't care about you or doesn't care about something that is important to you, it just feels like they don't care and it's incredibly frustrating. And maybe it's a little scary because you're not sure if they're actually going to show up for you as a person. Or maybe it's like very like tension bringing, angry, inducing feelings of why the heck don't you care? And I'm getting a little defensive. Maybe. Either way, there's a feeling that has come up for you, and now we got to figure out what to do with it. So, if we go back to the question, does my partner care? The only answers are either yes, they care, no, they don't care. I understand that maybe there's a spectrum and they kind of care, sort of care, something like that. But let's just say, for the sake of ease, either they don't care, and if they care even a little bit, we'll just put them in the we care. But like, maybe we just don't care very well. Because if they really cared well, you wouldn't be here searching about this, right? And that is another option. It's just not part of the solution because you've already solved it. If they care and you feel good about it, you're not here searching. So either they don't care or they care, but they don't do it very well, and they do it in a way that doesn't make you feel like you are cared for. All right. So if they don't care at all, we have the option to leave them, right? Or we have the option to try and convince them to care. Or we have the option that I really, really don't recommend, but I imagine you've done it before, where we betray our own integrity and we convince ourselves to no longer care. While I don't recommend that route, I've done that route. It's nasty, but sometimes we have to do that for a minute before we figure out don't do that anymore because it just makes me feel like I'm losing myself. But anyway, so if they don't care, we got to convince them to care. We can leave them or we convince ourselves to no longer care, right? And if they do care, but they're not doing it very well, then we got to teach them how to care better. So before we get there, let me just introduce myself. Hi, I'm Ellen. I've been a marriage and family therapist for over 10 years, but I didn't start there. I got a bachelor's in math before realizing that emotions fuel good logic and good decision making. And along the way, in my life, I was married for about a decade and got a divorce and had to learn or unlearn that that didn't make me a failure. And through that, I still love love. I just know now that love isn't the only metric to use when building a life together. If we're going with the option that we need to teach them, we need to figure out how to connect better, I've come up with this acronym to really help you on your journey, right? And it's super cute and adorable. It's GROW, okay? So what do we start? We start with G, and that is all about coming in with good intentions, right? And I know there's arguments about intention versus impact, but like I really need you to you really have to come from a place of good intention to make this work. Meaning we're going to be generous with ourselves and with them, right? Our interpretations of what they say, we're going to be generous with it. Meaning we're not going to be quick to get defensive. We're going to look for curiosity and understanding. And then also, we're going to really have this kind of team perspective in mind. Like, I'm coming to discuss this topic with you, not against you. That is, we are on the same page. We're assuming we want the same things. Okay, so that's G. R stands for responsibility and regulated, meaning I'm gonna manage if I start to get triggered or if I start to get mean, I'm gonna step away and I'm gonna calm down before I continue this conversation. O stands for observations. When looking at this issue of whether or not this person cares about whatever, right? I have to observe like what is happening now? Where are they coming from now? Where am I coming from now? And after that, I have to also observe and know like, is there something that I'm not seeing maybe from their past, from my past, that's further contributing to their response, to their lack of care or my interpretation of their lack of care? And finally, W, what do I want? What's the win? How do we win in this situation? What is the shared goal, right? We're kind of like circling back to that team perspective, but what do I want? And I have to know what I want in order to really achieve that. Otherwise, like, did I just want to fight? Maybe, right? But to me, that's probably, I just want to feel closer. I want connection. If I'm used to connection as fighting, well, maybe on the surface level, I want to fight, but below that is I want to connect and feel heard and understood. So if we can take that model of grow, right? Good intentions, responsible and regulated observations and wants and wins, we can probably figure out what's going on with this issue that they don't care about, or at least we perceive they don't care about. So, if I was to run you through an example from my own life, I could say that right now in my partnership, I am the high libido partner, and there are times when I desire some connection and I don't feel that same sort of exciting desire from my partner, right? And so there's this feeling of I don't know that you care that much about this issue. Ultimately, for me, to have this discussion, I have to have the intention that like I want to understand like why does it feel this way? Why are you giving me this vibe that you don't care about like my own desires, right? And so I can come in with that perspective and see like what's up? How can we do this better? I'm assuming you want to do this better, right? Because I'm generous and I feel like we are on the same team. And what's my responsibility for this? Well, I'm the one with the high libido. Like, it's not necessarily good or bad to have a high or lower libido. I just know that mine is higher. And so, really, the realistic issue is that there's a mismatch in libido there. And it's not really that, like, she has low libido and I have high libido. That's really a problem. But I'm aware that this mismatch, my contribution to this mismatch, is that I'm the one with the high libido. Okay. So I'm aware of that. But I also know that there's some trauma history that's probably making this connection more difficult. And what do I want from this conversation or from like addressing this feeling of like I don't know that you care. I don't know that you're going to show up for me. Is I want deeper connection, right? I also I would like to have that kind of desire met in some sort of way and like to go beyond just connection. Like I know that I want some play. I know I want some vulnerability. I know I want some body on body time, right? Like I do want that. It's such a fun, sort of pleasurable, playful activity that I would really like to engage with my partner. And like maybe that's not available now, but I believe it will be. And at the end of all of that, right? If I use grow, I have really great connection. I have a really great conversation and I understand it's not that she doesn't care. She cares so deeply about it. But there's so much that comes up for her in this issue, whether it's like something from the past that makes this difficult or just an anxiety that she isn't showing up and that she is just kind of worried that she's not doing enough. And that's not what I want. I don't want to cause more anxiety. And I know that like I'm not causing it, but like I'm part of it. Right? So when we grow together, we get to find that connection and we find the answer to perhaps the wrong question. Do they not care about me? I don't think that's the assumption there is wrong, right? It's will you show up for me and can we build trust together? And are we building trust together? As soon as we jump into can we do this together? Can we grow together? We're no longer on opposite ends and we get to really build this life together, which I think is truly what a lot of us want and probably part of why you're here. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions or if you feel like my logic was flawed, let me know in the comments.